Welcome back. Now, public-private partnerships are vital if South Africa is going to save its fresh produce markets. These markets lie at the heart of the country's supply chain and price settings of fruits and vegetables. But a growing infrastructure crisis is threatening this. While markets generate millions in annual revenue, they consistently fail to pay to others, budgetary concerns and political priorities. In 2020, 19 billion rand worth of fresh produce was sold at 20 major South African markets. Potatoes comprised of at least a third of those sales. Potatoes South Africa believes partnerships with the business sector could bring about a win-win condition for everybody. Let's bring in the CEO, Willie Jacobs. Thank you so much for your time, Mr. Jacobs. We do appreciate it. I think there are many challenges that, for example, our infrastructure faces, and this could possibly impact, our fresh produce markets. But perhaps just tell us how the sector is doing and what some of the challenges are that are prohibiting us from being A-class.
Yeah, I think the biggest issue that we currently have is just basically the budgetary constraint that we're seeing in most of the municipalities. Along with that, the specific issues with regards to the ability to really transfer skills. There's a lot of business skills that is now in the hands of private sector because of the fact that they started investing that. And I think if we can look at these two issues specifically to be able to address what needs to be done, it's going to make a massive difference in the industry.
Maybe speak to us about the basic infrastructure, such as buildings and other infrastructure that could perhaps be causing a big challenge in terms of taking this market forward.
Yeah, most of the fresh produce markets have been developed a substantial time ago. And as business progress and as things carry on, these infrastructure needs to be upkept, and not only kept up but also modernized. So currently, what we are facing with is that most of the municipalities, from the funding that they received on the fee that they get in the turnover, they take that money and invest it back into the shortfall in their budget. They don't really reinvest it back into the infrastructure. So currently in South Africa, the quality of the infrastructure is deteriorating to such an extent that there are legal issues against some of the municipalities. But then also just the straightforward facilitation, the management, the enablement of transactions and those type of things, the human part of the abilities that we need to physically operate properly. That is also significantly lacking at the moment.
I want us to maybe speak about the issue around waste. And as you mentioned, the state of these municipalities really prohibiting farmers and these businesses to really take this market forward. But speak to us about the waste aspect and how farmers are losing, if not millions, because of this.
Yeah, look, in most cases, per definition, if you look at a fresh produce market, that is what it is. It needs to keep the produce fresh on the facilities. That means we need cooling facilities, we need proper storage facilities, we need well-ventilated areas and those type of things. Currently, we've got a lack of cold rooms in a lot of the areas. The quality of the product doesn't get maintained. So what happens is wastage causes a larger gap between the producer and the consumer price because somebody has to not only fit the bill, but it creates a shortage. So what you see is while we're seeing these type of damage happening on the fresh produce, farmers are getting less for their product and consumers are paying more for that because there's just less availability of good quality product.
I want us to perhaps just lastly, I'm sure load shedding doesn't help that situation in terms of making sure that you have proper fridges. I mean, I don't even want to get into load shedding because it just really upsets me. But maybe speak just lastly about entering into a public-private partnership and how vital that is in making sure that this sector thrives and is able to move forward. And I ask that in terms of what you just mentioned about municipalities and the state that these municipalities find themselves in, where even the Auditor General has highlighted that most municipalities in this country are failing and are in the worst state. How important is it for government to get onto this bandwagon and understand the importance thereof?
Well, if we want to maintain fresh produce value proposition for the consumer, for making product available, this is inevitable. We need to have a look at that. The two major reasons for that is you'll get capital injection from the major business units that will be part of the process, but also again the continuity in terms of staffing, just physical skills and skills transfer. There's a lot of knowledge that comes over time with the proper operation of a business, and that business intelligence and business knowledge needs to be transferred back into these municipalities. It's really critical for us to make sure that that relationship happens so that we can get a proper skills transfer, proper development, proper continuity in terms of the actual business proposition, and basically just following a commercial approach. With a profit-driven income at the end of the day. There's a lot of capital, there's a lot of cash available within these businesses. It just needs to be applied properly.
Okay, great. Thank you so much for your insights, and we do hope that somebody from local government was listening to this interview to understand the impact that these municipalities have on the sector. Thank you so much. That was Potato South Africa's CEO, Willie Jacobs.